Diving into the world of Pumpking, we've got some GMX action and Hero as well. Make sure you guys smash the and crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Finally, we have Pumpking, and this wasn't quite in the way that I thought it was going to do because it's relying on Odeon as a base, and who would have thought that this would be the combination of things to actually make this work. Now, I mean, Odeon's not been the first time that he's been the culprit of kind of holding together some recent deck lists. I mean, he's been doing a pretty decent job of doing it for a little while, but, you know, there is something to this. This list is also only choosing to play to Call the Haunted. I don't know if the list, obviously, it looks like it wanted to stay about 40. So, you know, the minute you shift on over the 40, you know, you're going to kind of start to run into maybe some not great consistency options. You also got to remember, you have multiple field spells within this deck. You don't really want things conflicting too much. And I can kind of understand that, you know, you're just in a weird situation and it's like, all right, well, one field spell toggles into this, you know, the other one's going to get me into, you know, my Odeon stuff. But I think it's cool that you can create this level of synergy with this, that it's able to kind of bring itself together. Because, I mean, in the modern times, not a single soul is going to be thinking about this. Nobody's going to think, all right, well, I can combine this to get results. Also, we are doing 2 copies of the Ectoplasmic Fortification, which is kind of cool. The only monster you're really relying on here is the Stare of the Snake Eye, which is just a discard, and then Pumpking. But, I mean, you're playing triple copies of the Stare of the Snake Eye. And, I mean, this card actually does seem pretty cool. Obviously, going with 2 copies of these and 1 copy of the Undying Legion, just to kind of be able to stack up and kind of go into that chain of extra little boss monster pressure. Yeah, I approve of this. This is the kind of stuff that you look at in terms of deck building and you go, yeah, this is awesome. All right. You guys remember GMX, right? You know, this, let's not take as much damage as possible to kind of get a payoff. Well, it just so happens that we have some dinosaurs. We got more dinosaurs. You know, suddenly the for hire stuff is extra dinosaurs. Now remember, this is going to have to go until you excavate a GMX monster and a dinosaur monster. All right, so that's Alos and Velox are going to be some options for you here. So in terms of your GMXs, you got 4 in the main deck. So if you are trying to play this, let's just randomize here and go. Obviously, I see we have Dino Demon here, which gets that a GMX monster from deck to hand if specialed. And then you can do the main phase fusion, which, I mean, is okay, depending on your start. Oh, look, we got Cambridge. You can reveal this to, you know, go get the good card. If you were to slam this down, you would hit, well, I mean, 1... and you would hit Rex. So, I mean, you wouldn't lose too many life points. I was kind of curious. Like, this ended up winning a local case tournament, which, you know, this kind of proves how good the canine cards are at their job, which is holding a deck like this together. You know, you got to have as many good materials as you can to flush out the engine pieces and do things. And honestly, I mean, this seems pretty cool. Also, Fossil Dig being able to add any dinosaur monster is pretty freaking stupid. You got a lot of options. Obviously, you know, you're not going to go add for Cambridge or, you know, our warrior, but, you know, the rest of the monster table is available to you. We are also side decking Wheeze. Thankfully, somebody got the memo that you do want this card as an access point for the deck. Yeah, who would have guessed, right? This card actually doing some major things. Next up, we have heroes. I have been trying to follow every hero variant that has been popping up. The hero group has been popping this week with as many different cool hero variants as they can. I've seen plasma variants. I've seen Break the Destiny. This, I think, is probably one of the lowest to the ground variants that I have seen so far. You know, you're packing in 1 Dust Crow, 2 copies of Furnace. You're going to get the job done with those cards, but, you know, you got to remember, you got to factor in some variation. I see we're doing 2 copies of the Contrast Chaos, or Contrast Hero Chaos. I don't hate this. This card has always been like the go-to boss monster. It just took like 10 years for it to be playable. And the fact that, you're finally getting to see years later here that this monster is actually, making a place in today's space, I actually don't hate this. Obviously, 2 masked heroes to make it, but it has a pretty good payoff. I see we are side decking a mass change, playing 1 in the main deck, which is fine. We are playing 2 copies of the core polymerization with the 1 miracle fusion, which is fine. You're also playing triple forbidden droplet, which I also think is good. I just like the fact that this list looks pretty consistent, 44 cards might feel like a little bit much. I don't really blame you for thinking that. You're going to have a lot of scenarios where you're going to look at, these lists and you're going to be like, well, does that feel like too much? No. 2 Stratos is also good. You've got the 1 Shadow Mist in here helping you out, which is just fine. But in terms of everything else, you are still doing 1 Forest, 1 Increase. I know a few people aren't exactly too happy about still playing these, but I mean, like, they're one-of card packages now that you can just kind of pivot into and still work with. There's no reason to not actually consider playing these because they open up doors. You need as much combo consistency as you can kind of get. I mean, this feels like it's working out just fine for what you want to see. Next up, we have Magnoids. This list actually did very well at its regional, and for once in my life, we are not actually playing the big Magnet Warrior. Holy crap, man. We've stepped away from relying on Valkyrion and Berserkion, the 2 biggest bricks you can shove together to get 1 big Omni Negate. Truly the payoff of the Boss Monster world. Not actually present here, which is very refreshing, actually. But instead, we are actually playing the Fiendsmith package. Originally, the Fiendsmith stuff in the OCG was, one of the things that kind of held this deck together. Obviously, we don't have the stick 2 monsters together, make the mini Underworld Goddess, kind of go to town, but, I mean, that's fine. You don't always have to rely on what is considered the big game plan. You have ways to pivot into things. Obviously, Fabled Lurie's still able to kind of get you into the Desiree and go. You've also got the Wave King Kaiser to put up and force the opponent to burn through resources. You have tools here, people, to make a deck like this viable. It's just, you got to get your concessions together. Now, obviously, because, Gallant Granite exists, we can end into an end board of having a nib in our hand to basically protect our field. Or, we can kind of pivot, depending on how the rest of the combo goes. You can also use this as like an extender / starter. I do see that we are side decking triple Forbidden Crown. Being able to protect yourself or lock your opponent's yummy monster on the field and go bonk, bonk, bonk across the field is pretty good. Also, I think one of the other essentially good things this deck has is having access to Nat Tree Beast seems like a massively, unfair card, but truthfully, this card does actually help out quite a lot with the end board scenarios that you're going with. So I think you do want this card. I feel like it's very important, and it just kind of provides you with a safety net to kind of, do your thing. And our last list here is, I figured we'd cover a fun little Kuriboh list. Kira Twig always comes up with some of the craziest builds to just have fun with. And obviously, we finally just got Dark Kuriboh. And I mean, look at this. Take a second to just appreciate, how many Kuribohs we truly actually have in this game now that you can actually kind of use. Now, obviously, the 5 Twilight Star Kuriboh brothers here actually getting to make use of these and actually see Curry Babylon acting as that, little boss monster that he was always supposed to be. I think it's really cool. Also, we're playing a thrust in here. Well, what a madman. The only thing you can thrust into is the 5-star Twilight, but I mean, this does give you access to actually seeing this card, which is just fine. But outside of that, if you want to play casual like this and have a good time, understand, you're not going to get the craziest results, but, there is a level that you can take decks, make them a little bit more competitive, and actually see some results. And I think that's one thing I like about what Kira Twig and Dark Arm Duelist actually do. They take these lists, they try to make them as fine-tuned as they can, and even in a casual setting, I mean, this seems very, very fun. Yu-Gi-Oh's lost a lot of its casual fun base, but I think this seems fun. Sad part is, though, in Genesis, his card's 91 points. So RIP, never trying to play that. So, guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.